Welcome to the Death Lens hack. This problem started initially with these cases that Death Lens gives you. They're basically nothing. The case comes with the lens, and as you can see, it barely covers anything. And when you put your phone into it, it's not protecting anything. Okay, yeah, so these cases are garbage, and I paid for the Pro lens, which we'll get to in a minute. And if I had to pay an extra 5, 10, 15 bucks for a decent case, I would have. I think it's kind of nonsense that they wouldn't provide you something like that. So let's get to how I did it. What I did is I found a case that is 2 pieces, right? So this rubber piece goes inside here, and then your phone goes in, and that way it'll be flush right here. So let's get into that part real quick. So I took the Death Lens case and I cut just the corner off, because I knew if I kept that corner, then the camera would be centered still. So this is an iPhone 6 2-piece case. I think the brand's called InCase. That's the name of it. So what I did is I just cut off that corner, and then I had to, router out this piece. I didn't have a router, so I just used a hacksaw and a file, and I got this nice shape cut out. Let's see if I can get a better shot of that. I tried to cut a nice radius in there. Got that thing to pop in there. The hard part was getting the radius in there, but also getting that corner to be tucked up in the other corner. Once I got that straight, I decided to epoxy it down. I just used that plastic epoxy you can get at any store. It was fairly cheap, I cut the case with just an X-Acto blade. You just score it a couple times. Don't try and go through it the first time through. Give it a couple times over, and then you can bend it and snap it. Take a little sandpaper, clean it up, and then I epoxied that in there. The trick is that this case is about as thick as the Death Lens piece. So when they all go together, it creates like a nice flush environment. So you have to be careful when you do this to cut so they both blend together. I made sure to cut mine right before this power button, so that part will still be used, so I can still get a little bit of protectiveness right there, just in case. This case has seen better days, but I figured it's worth a shot since I was gonna give up anyways. So that's it. Basically just find a 2-piece case, cut your old Death Lens piece apart, epoxy it in there, make sure you get space for it, and you can do it. So here's my 8. There's the crack. And that's all because this was in a Death Lens case, and it fell out of my lap when I went to go get gas in between sessions. Fucking great, right? So I popped the rubber in there. As you can see how it kind of fits. These are both 2 iPhone 6 cases fitting an iPhone 8 right now, so it's a little bit not quite perfect, but it works. So corner first, snaps right in there, and I'm good to go. Now I have a protective case, that, yeah, if I drop it onto a rock, it's still gonna eat shit, but now at least I can try and film and not have to worry about dropping it off my lap. Next up is the handle. So I thought I was done. I thought that was it. That's all I needed to do. And now I can film and feel safe and not beat. But when I went to go get my handle out of the car, from sitting in the car for a couple days, because I thought I was done with it, the sun must have got to it, and there's a weight inside these things, and the weight breaks free, and this is what it sounds like. There ain't no fucking way you're filming with this thing, right? So to Death Lens's credit, This happened before, and when I reached out to them, they sent me a new handle, no questions asked. So I'm already sitting on two. I am currently sitting on two handles, right? Pause. So this is my good one still. The other one was way worse with how much it rattled. So I decided to take the one that was way worse and make it better. So out goes with that one. In comes with what I did to this one. So first things first, no rattle. What I did was I drilled holes in the handle and then threw more of that plastic epoxy into the holes. My reason being that if the weight's bouncing around, if there's something hard in there keeping the weight from moving, then no more weight will bounce around, no matter how much it's in the sun. So right there, it's a little bit of a raw edge. I didn't really try and finish that as much as I could have, but that's all right. So I filled the holes with epoxy, let them dry, sanded them down, and painted them, and painted the handle. I even sanded off the old Death Lens logo here, and my buddy, my cousin Seth, he 3D printed me some Yeah logos, so I went ahead and popped the Yeah logo on that bitch, because this is now my handle. Yeah. Epoxied it, then sanded it down, then painted it, you know, and I never really liked how the handle was to begin with, so I took some paracord I had here and made a nice little grip for it. Just happened to go down the end a little bit. This is called a knife handle wrap. Is like the technique or whatever. I'll put a link in the notes for that, so if you wanted to do it, you could. So yeah, I went through fixing the case, I went through fixing the handle. I think I'm ready to go. And then that brings me to the next thing, the lens. Why is there tape on my lens? Because the lens is now loose. The lens bounces around inside this little cartridge. And here, I'll put it next to the mic and see if you can still hear it. So that still happens. It's still happening now. I put little pieces of tape on there to make it not as bad. Cause like, I'm like, seriously, I don't even know how you fix this. I don't, maybe super glue, you know, but the chances of, you know, maybe a glue going into a crevice that maybe it shouldn't, it's possible. I'm a little sketched out by ruining this $100 lens. I am tempted to reach out to Death Lens to see if they'll send me a new one, but I don't know. Seems like maybe it'll just start rattling again like the handle did. So I carefully put this blue tape on there. It does not block the view angle at all, surprisingly. So it keeps it from rattling just from like movements like that, but it still rattles a little bit. So I had to run through the gauntlet to get these things to work correctly. Now let's put it all together. And now it's ready to roll, sort of. I have a battery pack that if you take, I put foam underneath it just so it doesn't rattle. Take the battery pack, put it underneath there. Bring them around to the corner. And now I got a full-blown setup here. So now it's heavy, feels like a camera, got battery to go all day, a little bit more rugged of a setup, and hopefully this gets me by. I'm not saying it's the best, I'm just saying this is what you can do with what you got, and hopefully this helps somebody else out there. Thanks for watching.